Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for being here today. Your presence show that you are care about this important topic. I am very happy to welcome you today in our forum titled Breaking the Stigma of Mental Health. Mental health is something that affects all of us. Just like we take care of our bodies, we also need to take care of our minds too. However, many people still afraid or embrace to talk about their mental health. They are worried about being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as weak. But in reality, mental health challenge can affect anyone. Mental health can affect students, teachers, parents, and all people in all communities. For example, that mental health can affect everyone is stress, anxiety, burnout, and emotional pressure are common, especially among students today. But sadly, because of the stigma, many people choose to suffer in silence. They smile on the outside but struggle on the inside. Therefore, today's forum focused on two main ideas. Firstly, how open conversation can help reduce mental health stigma. Secondly, how we can challenge stereotypes and misconceptions about mental illness. So, our goal is simple. By the end of this session, I hope we all feel more confident to talk about mental health, more aware of the struggles people face, and more ready to support those who need our help. Before we begin, remember this. Sometimes listening and understanding can truly change our life. So we 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 are we are honored to have two amazing panelists with us today. Panelist one will focus on open conversation and mental health awareness and how talking openly can help people feel less alone. Panelist 2 will focus on stereotypes and misconception and how wrong beliefs about mental health can harm individuals and society. To start, I would like to invite our panelists to briefly introduce themselves. Panelist 1, can you please introduce yourself and share why this topic is important to you?
Thank you, moderator. My name is Muhammad Hasanudin. I'm from IPG Campus Tawau, student from IPG Campus Tawau. So this topic is important because nowadays we know most of students feel stressed and have mental issues. So that's why we need to talk about this and share it with them. That's all from me.
Thank you, panelist 1, for the introduction. So we continue to panelist 2. Can you introduce yourself?
Thank you, moderator. Good morning. My name is DANIELLIA binti Guslan. I'm student from IPG Campus Tawau. So, why this topic is important for me? For me, this this topic is important because we can help a lot of people out there who is struggling with mental health. That's it for me.
Thank you to both panelists. Now, so let us move on into round 1. Round 1, we will talking about understanding the issue. So, we start with panelist 1.
Thank you, moderator. When we talk about mental health, the biggest problem is silence. Many students feel stressed, anxious, or emotionally overwhelmed, but they choose not to talk about it. This silence does not mean they are okay. It means they are afraid. They fear being judged, misunderstood, or labeled as weak. Some worry that others will laugh at them and not take them seriously. As a result, they keep everything inside until it becomes too heavy to handle. In reality, mental health struggles are not a sign of weakness. They are normal part of being human, just like physical illness. Mental health issues need care and attention. Open conversation help in many ways. Firstly, they help normalize mental health. When people hear others talk openly, they realize they are not alone. This reduces feelings of shame and loneliness. Secondly, open conversation encourage early help. When people talk early, problem can be managed before they become severe. Thirdly, conversation builds trust. When someone listens without judging, it creates a safe space. That safety gives people the encourage to seek professional help. School and universities play an important role. Mental health talk, workshop, and counseling service send a clear message. It is okay to ask for help. However, change does not only come from institute. It starts with the individual itself. Simple action like listening, checking in, and showing care can make a big difference. Asking a friend, how are you really feeling? May seem small, but it can open the door to healing. Let me share an example. I once knew a student who struggled with anxiety but never spoke to anyone because he felt shame. His grades dropped and he isolated himself. One friend noticed, gently asked him if he was okay. That That small conversation helped him open up and seek support. This shows how simple conversation can truly save lives. In short, open conversation replaces silence with support and fear with understanding. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, panelist one. I also agree with you about the open conversation can replace silence with support and fear with understanding. That we can see here is that talking openly does not require perfect perfect words, but it requires care and empathy. So let's us move on to panelist two, who will explain why stigma still exists.
Thank you, moderator. I also agree with panel one. So today, I'm going to talk about stereotypes and misconception. Stigma exists mainly because of stereotypes and misinformation. Many people grow up hearing negative ideas about mental illness. One common stereotype is that people with mental health condition are dangerous or unstable. This is simply not true. Most individuals with mental health issues are just like anyone else. They study, work, and live their normal life. Another misconception is that mental illness is a personal failure. People often say things like, just be strong or just think positive. While this word may sound encouraging for the one who say, but they ignore the real struggle that people may face. Mental health conditions are complex. They involve emotional, psychological, and sometimes biological factors. Recovery often requires therapy, counseling, medication, and strong support system. And other than that, the media also play a very big role. One negative portrayal in movies and news increase fears and misunderstanding to all people. Education is the key to break the stereotype. When people understand mental health better, fear fear decreasing and empathy increasing. Language also matters. Words like crazy, unstable may seem harmless for most of them, but they reinforces stigma and hurt people silently. Finally, sharing recovery story is powerful. When people see others manage their mental health and succeed, stigma slowly fades. Breaking stereotypes is about replacing ignorance with understanding and judgment with empathy. That's all from me.
Thank you, panelists, too. That was very insightful. I also agree with you about the breaking stereotypes is about replacing ignore with understanding and judgment with empathy. So, let's continue with panelist one. How can students start open conversation when they are afraid of saying the wrong thing?
So basically here, you don't need perfect words. Just listen, don't judge, and show care. Many students struggle to start open conversation because they are afraid of saying the wrong thing, being judged, or making mistake in front of others. This fear often comes from a lack of confidence and the belief that every spoken idea must be perfect or correct. However, it is important to understand that communication, especially in a learning environment, is not about being perfect, but about sharing ideas, learning from others, and improving understanding through discussion. When students realize that mistakes are a natural part of learning, they can slowly reduce their fear and become more comfortable speaking. One effective way for students to begin an open conversation is by changing their mindset. Instead of thinking, what if I'm wrong? They should think, what can I learn from this conversation? Using careful and respectful language allows students to express their thought without feeling exposed. Phrases such as, from my understanding, I might be mistaken, or this is what I think so far, help so often their and show show openness to correction. This approach reduces pressure because it does not demand certainty, only participation. Another important strategy is starting with question rather than statement. Asking questions show curiosity and interest, not weakness. When students ask questions, they are actively involved in the conversation without the fear of giving incorrect information. Questions also encourage others to create a supportive and interactive discussion environment. As the conversation develops, students can respond by agreeing, adding a small point, or clarifying other state, which help them gain confidence they do. Listening is just as important as speaking. An open conversation. By listening carefully, students can understand different perspectives and feel more prepared to contribute. They can summarize or restate other ideas to show understanding, which allow them to participate without introducing completely new ideas. This builds confidence and show respect for other opinions. Over time, students begin to realize that conversation is collaborative, not competitive. Practicing conversation in small or safe groups also helps students overcome fear. When students feel accepted and supported, they are more willing to speak. As confidence grows, they become more comfortable sharing ideas in a larger group or formal setting. Preparation also play a role. Just having simple sentence start in mind can reduce anxiety and make speaking feel more natural. In conclusion, students can start open conversation despite their fear by accepting that mistakes are part of learning. Using gentle language, asking questions, lis- listening actively, and practicing in supportive environment. When students focus on learning rather than perfection, they develop confidence, improve communication skills, and become more active participants in discussion. Open conversation is not about being right all the time, but about being brave enough to speak and grow through shared and understanding. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Exactly, Pedalist One. I also agree with you. We don't need perfect words. We have just have to listen, and we cannot judge, and we must to show them with our care. Sometimes being present is already enough. So let's continue with panelist one. How can we challenge stereotypes without offending others?
We can challenge stereotypes without offending others by operating op- I'm sorry. We can challenge stereotypes without offending by others, oper- operating conversation with approaching conversation with respect, passion, and openness rather than confrontation. Speaking calmly help create a safe and constructive environment when people are more willing to listen instead of becoming defensive. Sharing accurate facts and real life example can gently correct misconception without making others feel attacked or embarrassed. At the same time, showing empathy is more important because it acknowledges that people may hold stereotypes due to limited exposure, upbringing, or factual evidence. By combining calm communication, factual evidence, and understanding, we can encourage critical thinking, promote mutual respect, and gradually change harmful belief in positive and meaningful way. That's it.
That's right. That's right. Um, by speaking calmly, sharing facts, and showing about our empathy, we can change begin with a respectful conversation. So let let's move to round two. So we start with panelist one. How to creating supportive space.
Okay. To truly, to truly break this stigma, we must create a supportive spaces. In school, counseling service should be private, safe, and easy to access. Students should never feel ashamed for seeking help. Families also play a big role. Listening without blaming or dismissing feelings help individuals feel valued. On a personal level, empathy matters. Small acts like checking in, listening, and encouraging help build a culture of care. Supportive space make people feel safe to speak up and heal. That's all from me.
Thank you, panelist one. I agree with you with supportive spaces make people feel safe to speak up and heal. So Let's continue with panelist 2. Why is it important to changing mindset?
Thank you, moderator. For me, why is it important to change attitude? Is it because changing attitudes about mental health takes time. People do not change their thinking quickly. So we need to ongoing effort to educate the society. Um, awareness campaign, talks, and open discussion can help people to learn more about mental health and understand it better. This activity allows people to ask questions, share opinions, and clear up the misconception. I'm sorry, to clear up the misunderstanding. When people are more informed, they are less likely to judge others unfairly. Sharing recovery stories is also more important. When people hear real life stories of individuals who is struggle with mental health but manage to recover and live successful life, it gives hope to others. These stories show that mental health problems do not define a person and that recovery is possible. Over the time, this might help reduce negative stereotypes and fear. Language also play a big role in shaping attitudes. The words we use can either hurt or support others. Using respectful and kind language show empathy and encouragement understanding. On the other hand, using insulting or careless words can make stigma worse. Therefore, we should always speak about mental health with care and respect. Lastly, breaking mental health stigma is not something that can be done quickly. It's require effort for everyone, including school, families, communities, and individuals. Even small action such as listening to someone or showing kindness can make difference. If everyone works together, society can become more accepting and supportive towards people with mental health challenge, challenges. That's it.
Thank you, panelist 2. So, we have sorry. We continue with final to our final session, that is to reflection. So, panelist 1. What is one the simple action student can start from today?
One simple action student can start today is basically by check on their own friend and encourage help seeking. That's all.
Thank you, panelist 1. Check on friends and encourage help seeking is the one simple action student can start from today with their friends. So, panelist 2, what advice would you give to people who want to help but feel unsure?
If I can give advice to people who with mental health but they feel unsure, I think it's gonna be something like something that I would say is you don't have to be perfect or know exactly what to say in order to help someone. What matters most is your willingness to listen, show care, and offer your genuine support. Sometimes people don't need solution. They just need someone who is willing to be there for them without judging. You can help them by being patient, giving them your full attention, and making them feel safe to express themselves. Even small action like checking checking in on them, offering encouragement, or simply just sitting with them can make a meaningful difference. Remember that helping is not about having all the answer, but about showing kindness, empathy, and understanding so others feel valued, heard, and supported by you. That's it.
Thank you, panelists too. Yeah. So we going to our closing session. So, to, co- to conclude this, I'm sorry. In conclusion, breaking the stigma of mental health is not only about awareness, but it is about an action. Through conversation, empathy, kindness, and support, we can make a real difference. Thank you very much to our panelists for their meaningful insight, and thank you to everyone who joined us, and thank you for your attention. So let us live today with a compassion in our heart and courage to speak up for ourselves and for others. Thank you and have a wonderful day.